Sandali.
Okay lang
Are we
yan.
broadcasting?
Yes. This is the behind the scenes. So we have 1 minute. 1 minute to broadcast. And we're going live with Spanky.
Hello? Hello? Ay, ko ba yung ano? Grab. Nasaan ka na? Yeah, sandali ako.
All right. So we're just setting up and we'll start this conversation.
Perfect. Are you talking to yourself?
Okay ka na, Spank?
I'm good, thanks. Are you dancing? Oh. I like good music, man.
All right, Spanky. How are you?
Hello again.
Hello.
It's been 2 days.
Oh nga.
What happened the last time? Hello to everyone who's not watching, but most especially, hello to everyone who's watching and listening to us. Anton, this is sort of a makeup show, right? Because we had some technical problems the other day.
Yes. But we were able to record our conversation, pero hindi na stream yung audio during that time eh. So there were a lot of people watching the live stream also. So this is like a makeup
they were
episode,
complaining
no?
that they could only hear me, they couldn't hear you.
Yes, oo.
So yung mga fans mo nagagalit.
Oo nga.
Nabibitin sila. Hindi nila marinig yung your dulcet tones, your beautiful singing voice. So here we are again.
Oo nga.
No, but we really wanted to recap and give updates to everyone. Anton, do you realize it's 1 week to go?
Oo nga, 1 week to go na lang. Grabe. Wala nang extension yata to eh. Wala nang extension.
Wala na, that's it. Whatever happens, whether it'll be a modified GCQ or a GCQ or whatever it is, we've begun our last 7 days. So next Sunday, if you're Catholic, Anton, it's Pentecost Sunday.
Yes.
Diba? Ano bang ibig sabihin ng Pentecost? Hindi ba ito yung mga fire na pumunta sa mga apostles, so everyone was enlightened and they were inspired, they had a burning flame to spread the word of God. Isn't that Pentecost? Am I right?
Oh, yes. Pentecost.
Ay, mas magaling kasi sa akin sa dogma.
Hindi kasi Ascension eh. Ascension.
Yes. Ascension si Mama Mary ba yun? Si Jesus?
Jesus ascended into heaven. Oh, and then he said to the apostles,
So and then it's appropriate that
Pentecost is the Holy Spirit going to, di ba nag-ascend si Jesus in heaven. So pinadala niya Holy Spirit. So tama-tama talaga sa end ng ECQ.
I know, it's almost poetic. divine intervention that this timing is happening. And that's why we wanted to talk more about this, because you and I, we basically built our online careers on the back of restaurants, right? Doon
Yes.
naman tayo nag-umpisa pareho. We were
Industry,
food
yeah.
bloggers.
Yeah, kainan, syempre.
And kainan talaga, kaya tayo sexy. And the biggest challenge facing the industry is now. We've never had a challenge like this before. This is
Oo.
it.
Yes.
It's a matter of literally life and death for many restaurants, many food businesses, and we're doing all that we can possibly within our spheres of influence to make sure that we give them all the possible assistance moving forward into the GCQ and as life normalizes. I have a question to ask you.
Yes.
Serious answer to a serious question to
Oo,
it.
sige, sige.
Here it is. Why did you start blogging back in 2005 or 2006?
I think I started blogging at the time when we had our first son, si Aidan, who is 15 years old now, and we wanted to document our adventures. I think similar
Wait.
to how we started the Manila podcast also. Like we wanted
Mm,
to document historical point in time, 'di ba? Ganyan, but also discussing
mm.
and hopefully share perspective. So that's how it started, from food, travel, and then when we actually first started traveling naman locally, going to the different beaches, promoting the
Oh, I
beaches,
remember.
and then kain.
And
By the way,
so,
lang pala,
yeah, go ahead.
there are people watching this in replay or now live. You can actually comment in the comment below in either in Facebook or YouTube, and
Wow.
we'll include that in the discussion so that just step in and let's have a let's have this kind of discussion. So we just for those just joining in, we just finished recording our episode 8 on Friday, but people cannot listen to it. We're publishing that episode tomorrow,
Yeah.
but this is like the ano ba to, sequel, or may maraming updates kasi Spanky, di ba? In the
It's
span of two,
it's
two days.
it's a companion piece, a sidebar,
Oo,
whatever you want to call
yes.
it, to what happened, to what we discussed last Friday, which unfortunately a lot of people haven't heard yet because we had some technical issues.
So
So
we'll
we're going to recap some of those
recap.
and give updates as well to everyone.
Okay. Oh, go.
And mostly this is about the food industry. The reason why I'm asking you why you started blogging, let me just lead this to you. Ikaw
Mhm.
ba nung nag-umpisa ka, gusto mo talaga, inisip mo na ba kagad mag-monetize ka? Did you think you would come up with a brand? Did you think you would get all these and admittedly privileges and other connections in the industry? What was the core intent? What was your mission?
At the time kasi, I remember 15 years ago, most
Mm,
people travel outside the Philippines. I think I
mm.
remember people travel to Hong Kong already and different places. And parang
Yeah,
people
Hong
just
Kong
know
was big. Yeah.
Manila and Boracay lang. And when we were going around, I think we went to Cebu in Batayan Island, Malapascua.
Mm,
Sabi namin, wow, ang ganda ng Philippines. Why don't
yeah.
people discover, if we have 7,107 islands, ang dami siguro magagandang beaches dito. So that's actually
Mm,
how we started our blog. So that's one. And
mm.
second, during that time, you remember at the time, maraming mga foreign franchises opening in the Philippines, ganyan, wala masyadong mga local na, kung meron man yung mga local, mga nasa hotels, and nagsisimula pa rin yung mga home-based businesses at the
Wala pa.
time.
We were a decade away from which is now the golden age
Oo.
of restaurants.
Oo.
And this is exactly why we want to propagate this. So we want to, kasi nasa golden age tayo. And we were so rudely interrupted by this virus from China, but we're
Yes.
doing all that we can to get back and to bounce back. And
Yes.
yeah, going back to 15 years ago. So what's your blog called, Our Awesome Planet back then?
Hindi, anton.blogs.com. Tapos,
Talagang wala pang brand. Oo.
wala pa, oo. And then,
Oo.
we just branded it a little later.
Okay.
Kasi, we wanted, it was really a branding campaign that hey guys, Philippines is really nice. You know, our restaurants, our food.
Mm.
Pero I remember noon, wala pa yung mga artisan ice cream noon at that time. And we
Wala
really
pa, wala
saw
pa.
everything no from the start of Carmen's Best, from all this, from Mala. So it was really nice to see how that entire industry blossomed no for
Mm.
15 years. Yeah.
And back then, I remember when we first met. This is how we met for everyone watching. This is how we became such good friends with Anton. A year later, after you started your blog, I had a date in Tagaytay, and I had no idea where to go.
Oh, yes.
Diba? So I stalked you, and there was already a slight buzz about your blog, and I remember I was reading you, I was reading Lori's blog, right? Dessert
Yeah.
comes first, but our good friend is now off the grid. She just left us. She's retired and very happy drinking her gin and tonics. But kayong dalawa yung favorite ko at the start. And I remember that day when I was looking through, I think we had Google already, no? And I found your blog,
Doon
and I
nagsimula
asked you a few
ako.
questions. Oh, I had a few questions regarding Antonio's, and there was a compound there na iba-ibang restaurants,
Oo.
and you even advised where to park, where
Cliff
to
House yun eh.
sit.
Cliff House. Oh,
Cliff House, yeah. So
yeah.
there you go. So that's how we met everyone. And a few months later, we kept up the conversation with Anton, and I mentioned casually that I was from Pampanga, and I told him, if you're really intent on talking about the Philippines, why don't I take you on a food tour of Pampanga? And that was around, I guess, August of
Oo.
2006, 14 years ago, and hindi na tayo naghiwalay. Mula
Nagtatrabaho
nun. Then,
ka
yun
nun.
nun, nagtatrabaho pa tayo pareho nun. Ngayon, wala tayong
Oo.
trabaho.
By the way, hi
Uh,
Eunice. Umabot pala tayong Belgium. Hi.
all right.
Thank you.
What time is it in Belgium? Wait, it's 5 p.m. here, so it's around 10 in the morning there, more or less. Good morning, Eunice.
Eunice. Ay. Oy,
Ay, Kabalen.
Pampanga, Kabalin.
Yeah, that's okay. I was watching rewatching during the ECQ, yung pinaka-favorite miniseries ko ever, Band of Brothers.
Oo. Yeah.
And one of the key episodes there was in Belgium. Ako, dream ko punta. Ikaw, nakapunta ka na. Nakapunta ka na sa Bruges, Anton?
Hindi pa, dumaan lang. So hindi counted.
But we're in Brussels and all of these places. But yeah,
Ah,
Belgium is one of those places I really want to go to, Kabalen. So, Eunice, when we are free to travel again, may dalawang kakain sa restaurant mo, kami ni Anton yan.
So I remember nga that's why I was asking you, saan ba pinakamasarap sa Philippines? We were asking at the time, nasa Manila tayo no, Tagaytay. Sabi ko Pampanga is the culinary center, so we really wanted to go around, di ba? Do you remember that? And then we created
remember that.
Remember, naging food tour guide, di ba?
Yeah, and that's how we
for a while.
started for a while. We ran a tour company with Ivan Henares and Ivan Mandy. It was called Ultimate Tours. But I
Yeah.
remember that our itinerary the first time we went to Pampanga, unang stop natin was Everybody's Cafe. You remember
Yes.
that?
Oo.
And we were entertained by Koch and Tita Pet, and pinakain ko kayo ng Kamaru, right? And one of these things, the famous Morcon of Everybody's
Oo.
Cafe, and Betute, frogs.
Yes.
And I took you to VFW afterwards.
Yes.
VFW, ito yung parang cafeteria, cantina mga US servicemen na retired. So it's VFW stands for Veterans of Foreign Wars. And they serve authentic American GI food, the likes of which these Americans, these Air Force guys, were really eating when they were still based in Clark, when we still had Clark. So pinakasikat na food doon, ito na pinaalala ko, pinakain ko, it was called SOS, Shit on a Shingle, which is cream chip beef on toast. Yan ang classic food ng American soldiers.
Boy pa yan, Paps?
Buhay pa. I still go there. I mean, the moment I can come home to Pampanga, kasali yun sa first restaurants ko.
Wait.
And then we went to,
Uni said, ito, Pot Mami Oriental Street Food will be there in Belgium. Pero, sabi niya,
kailan tayo pupunta sa Belgium?
Wait, my father's cafe is Everybody's Cafe. Paano, ano related kila to?
Kalapoch.
Oo, Kalapoch. Galing nga. Malamang.
Hello. Okay.
All right. So, Yeah.
And
Sa,
then, anong huling, naalala pa yung huli natin pinuntahan?
sa
Zapata, which was
Batas.
the
Sa
most famous Mexican restaurant 15 years ago in Pampanga was called
Oh.
Zapatas. It's still there, but it's
Buhay
now
pa?
called Iguana.
Buhay pa
Iguana na
si
yung pangalan niya. Iguana
nag
na siya. Oh,
Iguana.
medyo
Yes,
change of
yeah.
ownership, change of name, but the food's still good, still the same.
Pero ang naalala ko talaga doon si Chef, pare. Galing ni Chef.
Okay, Cloud
Chef.
Tayag.
Hindi, well, aside from Cloud, yung siya chef sa Angeles City, naalala mo?
Oh my God, kay Chris?
Kay
Did you go to
Chris.
Chris?
Si Chris, di ba?
Oh Lord.
Tindi
So we're
nun
talking
yung
about the late great chef Chris Locker of
Chris.
C Italian Dining. That was he was the inventor of the panizza, and very sadly we lost Chris to cancer a couple
Mhm.
of months ago, right before the COVID
Oo, right
situation
before, no?
happened.
Yes.
So I'm glad that Chris didn't have to go through all this stress. Otherwise, magmumura yun. Mumurahin nila tayo dahil he was one of the most he was one of the best chefs I've ever met. One of the most passionate and one of the most verbally intense chefs ever. So we miss you, Chef Chris, and we hope you're cooking the panitas up there for us. Yeah, remember? It was a pretty good tour. It was representative of Pampanga in the sense that we had the classics from Everybody's Cafe,
Oo.
and all the way from what we've been known for, all the international fare you can find in Clark and Angeles and San Fernando, including C Italian back then, VFW, and Zapata. So it's still a very vibrant food town. It's probably one of the most vibrant food towns in the Philippines, and I hope we can go back there soon. So
Yes.
that's how we met. That's how we met, you and I, Rachel, right? But
Yes.
going back, the reason I ask you this, it's just a long, long preamble, a long intro for everyone. Ngayon kasi, parang nag-iiba na yung sitwasyon natin dito sa food media.
Mhm.
Do you agree? A couple of years ago, there was someone called, remember this controversy? This was 3 years ago, 2017. Nagkaroon ng Tupperware Gate. Naalala mo yun?
Oo, yes.
So there was this person
Sige, kwento
who
mo,
kept on
kwento mo.
attending. There was this person who kept on attending events, okay, food events, because the way that I said that there's a symbiotic relationship between restaurants and us, the food media, right? Because I'm using food media because there's so many kinds of. Before 15 years ago, blogger lang tayo, right? But now you've
Yes.
got the Instagrammers, you've got the YouTubers, you've got the vloggers, you've got
Kaya tsaka
the trad media
TikTokers.
that's now traditional,
TikTokers.
the TikTokers. Shout out Mr. Mark Tan, happy birthday yesterday, Mr. Explorations,
Oh,
and
happy birthday.
follow Explorations and TikTok. Kasi si Mark, he was very big as a blogger, but now he's transitioned as a TikToker, and he doesn't really dance, right?
Oh.
Well, maybe he does, but what he does, he's now doing cooking videos. So Mark Tan, Explorations, is now a TikTok guy. And hopefully he'll dance. Alam ko may mga secret videos si Mark, mga scandal yan, but he will not show them. But happy birthday, Mark.
Oo.
But
Happy
that's it. It just
birthday.
goes to illustrate how many channels we have now. So collectively, we can just call it
Dami.
the online food media, if that's what we are. But here's the
Yes.
thing. Ang daming habang dumadami tayo, dumadami yung classifications natin, dumadami yung channels natin, para dumadami rin yung what's the easiest way to what's a good Tagalog word? Tuso. You know what tuso means? Parang
Oo.
abusado.
Oo.
Parang
Yes.
that's how I look at it because historically 3 years ago, not too long ago, nagkaroon ng Tupperware blogger. And this person would go to events and bring literally Tupperware. Tupperware. Maybe
Oo
di
nga.
man Tupperware, maybe half gallon na Selecta ice cream, no?
Oo.
So it was a she. She was a she. And she is a she.
Oo.
And she would actually get the food from the buffet and ask the host of the events, pwede bang uwi ko to, magte-take home ako? Para saan? Para ulam namin. Then she would bring along her kid, poor kid, you know? Why would you be dragged along to an event? And then all the other media there would be looking queerly at your mom, and
Mhm.
your mom's getting food na walang niha, walang niho. sheer kapal na mukha. And there was one time, kaya sumabog to, hindi pa daw tapos yung event, and she had to leave early. So, nauna na siya kumuha ng pagkain, and she had to leave early. Nilagay niya yung pagkain, even before anyone else could eat. Nilagay niya lang sa Tupperware, and then, boom, and in full view of everyone else. Did we
Ah,
ever do that? Did you ever hear about shit like that when 15 years ago, a dozen years ago when we were... No!
wala, oo, wala.
And we thought that this would taper down, taper off because people were talking about it. But here's what's happening. Parang nagkaroon pa ng mga bagong modus operandi ngayon. Yung mga, I don't know, what do you call them now? They like to call themselves influencers. I hate the term. I think it's a very corny term.
Yeah, I
It
don't
gives me
like it also.
goosebumps. Yeah, and it's not goosebumps in a nice way. Nakakapangilabot ako na nakakadiri na term yung influencer. And a lot of the influencers who call themselves influencers like the term influencers, right? Maybe they like being called netizens to whatever shit they want to call themselves. But here's what happened the past week, di ba? And may pumutok na kwento. And this is what we were talking about Friday. There's this influencer who apparently, ito nga, I can't make head or tails of it kung if this is pathologic or may masama siyang pakay or mali lang talaga yung PR niya, mali lang yung strategy niya, mali lang siya magbitaw ng salita. Okay? So, ito yung kwento. Ito yung pumutok na kwento. So, in many ways, it's similar to the Tupperware thing. So, there's a chef. Bagong chef who's starting out a business. One product business. Tawagin natin siyang the little chef. Okay? So, si little chef, pare, one product, spaghetti.
Okay.
Good spaghetti, ah. Baked spaghetti, Filipino style, manamis-namis, maraming queso, maraming hotdog. It's our party spaghetti, the birthday spaghetti we grew up with. And he encountered and he became acquainted with this influencer. And obviously, as what happens now, the influencer got in touch with him and said that maybe I can try your product. Okay? So, ito naman si Little Chef. Sabi, sure. Okay?
Oh,
And, sige, I'll send you a sample. And usually, what's a sample? You're starting out. Every little bit helps. Every little bit has a cost.
oh,
Right? Tapos,
yes.
papakurir mo yan. So, sabi, I'll send you a sample. And, humirit yata, can you send more than one sample? And, supposedly, he said, si Little Chef said, sige, I'll send you two medium or two small and one medium. Parang ganun. And this influencer replied, and this was screen cap. Humingi si influencer or requested or whatever word, ayuda, limos, said, can I have six small and one medium or six medium and one small? Who the hell are you gonna feed your barangay? So, bagong negosyo, getting off the ground, trying to look for people to support the business, encounters this person who's asking for an exorbitant amount of samples. And here's what the story gets funny. Sabi ni influencer, hindi, bibigyan ko ng yung six small, bibigyan ko yung mga security guard namin sa condo. Na, for me, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to be a philanthropist, if you want to give, ikaw bang bigay? Bayaran mo, bilhin mo sa kanya, then bigay mo yung binili mo sa kanya. But you don't ask for six samples just to give away because that person has a cause and that person probably, si Little Chef probably has other activities where he's also feeding the frontliners. Why is it his responsibility? So, off talaga. And so, yun nangyari. Ngayon, hindi nagbigay na ng sample. Si influencer took, well, in all fairness, took pretty pictures of the food, right?
Okay, maganda. Okay.
Posted on this Instagram. But in this private chat where all the baho came out, there was they had this private chat kasi. mga influencers then, I think may nagalit, may napikon or something, started screen capping anonymously all of these conversations of the influencer and his so-called minions. And the most damning, the most incriminating was which, sabi ni influencer, hindi ko nga type eh, masyadong matamis. I hate spaghetti. I hate spaghetti in black and white. Whatever it
Ganon?
meant. Yeah, but that's what he said on the chat, and he says something else on his Instagram feed. So it's all very muddy. It's all very, for me, it's all very dishonest, right? So kung hindi mo gusto, just don't write about it. Kung hindi mo gusto pa rin spaghetti, ba't ka humihingi ng sobra? Tapos, hindi mo naman pamigay sa guards. I don't know. It's really crazy. But here's the point, Anton. Why is this happening? Why is this happening? And there are so many stories about this particular influencer right now on social media. And for me, it just leaves a very bad taste. What do you think about all this? Why is this happening?
Um, I think it has been happening for a while na. And kasi nga, yun nga, parang some influencers are taking advantage, di ba? And because it's getting noisier din kasi in digital eh. So if you're
Mm.
like, for example, starting out or you wanted to get the word out, minsan you really have to do that, no? Parang ganun. So nangyayari rin siya. But I guess ang pinaka pangit kasi nangyari is parang you mentioned to me, it happened during this quarantine, di ba? This is not
Yeah,
a
that's
pre-COVID
it. That's the
situation.
whole punchline for me. It happened 2 weeks ago.
Oo,
It
kasi
happened
and
two
then
weeks ago.
bago pang bago bagong food entrepreneur, 'di ba? And
Di ba?
yun na.
And then, Anton, right now, everyone is in survival mode,
Yes.
right? Look,
Oo.
every single restaurant in Metro Manila has been closed for 2 months and 9 days since March 15. All right, it's now March 24. It's now May 24, and it's only the past few weeks that they have sort of awoken from their slumber because they've started deliveries, takeout. But truth to tell, what's takeout? What's delivery? Your takeout business, your delivery business, at most will give you 15 to 25% of
Mm-mm.
your food sales, of your daily normal average food sales. I'm not even talking about weekends where we see a spike, right? Tapos
Yes.
wala kang, and if you're running a restaurant business, you very well know that you make a lot on beverage sales as well. You have zero beverage sales, zero, right?
Yeah.
So
And
everyone is struggling, and you can't tell me that porque malaki akong kumpanya, I'm not struggling. Everyone's struggling.
everyone's talking. And siguro yung pinakamagandang statistic nga na the SME business,
Mm.
more than 50% is food, di ba? And
Yeah.
so if we were to really make sure that this SME type of businesses survive, we really have to support them, di ba?
And actually, it's more than 50%. The number I have is around 56%. So it's almost 60 if you round
Wow.
it up.
Wow.
So majority of the SMEs, and we've seen this, not just in small mom and pop restaurants, but also in the burgeoning food business, in the delivery business. And dami talaga home entrepreneurs, which has exploded, especially of the past 2 months. It's exploded for two reasons. One, so many people have so much time, okay, then they have their ovens and people can go out to shop, can go out to supermarkets regularly. So nangyari, there were communities in the condos, in the villages, in the neighborhoods where I would sell pandesal to everyone. Someone else would sell palaman ng pandesal to everyone. Someone else would sell barbecue. Someone else would sell spaghetti. And then they said,
Uh,
if this is it's a good business, kumikita ako and not idle, I'm actually getting some revenue and I will able to feed my my neighbors without them going out. So it's all very safe. And for the home entrepreneurs, what's your cost? Halos wala rin kasi
mm,
mamamalengke ka lang. So provided makamalengke ka, and now everyone can just go e-palengke, just have everything delivered.
mhm.
And what's your production cost? Yung production cost mo sarili mo, kung may katulong ka sa bahay, katulong mo. So tax free. So it's really a good business, right? That's why I told you a month ago I was going to
Oo, nihintay ko pa.
may gayuma cookies eh. Pero wala pa naman may gumagaya na gayuma cookies. So, gagawin natin yung gayuma cookies. But that's it. So, there's the new economy now. But when you're a startup, syempre, wala ka pa naman puhunan, wala ka pa naman kita, wala ka pa napundar. Di ba? Bakit ka, why would people take advantage of you in that way? Right? So, for those listening, the newer ones, kasi kami ni Anton, Tito at
may question ako, Spanks. So nag-react ba yung food entrepreneur or the reaction is more of the mga PR, the entire community?
Well, as far as Little Chef is concerned, ito yung nangyari kahapon, tinawagan siya ni influencer. Right? So we found out, ito yung mga update natin. Tinawagan siya influencer. And the influencer was sort of saying maybe you can take back what you said about yung limos. Diba? Pero yung limos kasi hindi naman si Little Chef yung nagsabi. Yun yung comment doon sa mga screen cap. Diba? Minsan nagkakagulo sa comments eh. And, I've met the Little Chef and he's a nice, decent guy. He wouldn't say that thing. But ang nakabangga niya nga, itong si influencer, has a very different personality. Let's put it that way. And Anton, here's the thing. I told you a couple of days ago, si influencer, his brother is a very good friend of ours.
Yes.
Right? His brother is very well respected. Highly esteemed.
Tsaka masarap ang food nun.
Sobrang bayat in the restaurant and one of the most talented people in the F&B industry. Pero kapatid ni brother, medyo iffy lugar. So si Kuya, let's call Kuya na lang. Tumawag si Kuya sa akin nung Friday. Sabi, maybe you can talk to my brother, the influencer. So, just tell him what the situation is from your point of view because you are tito na tayo ng blogging. From your perspective of 14 years, 15 years. So I said, yeah, I have nothing personal against him. We have not had bad blood directly between us. So if he has any issues with other people, I'm not part of that. So yeah, I can be objective and talk to him about it. So influencer called me. And we talked about this. Sabi ko, Anton, masyado tayong mabait minsan, di ba? So said, what was my thinking back then? You don't kick a man when he's down. And he's really down now. He's being kicked around, pushed around. He's like, kinukuyog. Is it deserved? Maybe. Right? But I took his call. And here's what I told him. Hey, influencer, you know what? You rub a lot of people the wrong way. Right? People say you're mayabang. I didn't mince words. Right? I was honest with him. Sabi ko, alam mo, maraming nayayabangan sa'yo. So maybe you should first treat this whole situation from a perspective of humility. Strip out all ego, right? Then go to the comments page of where you have been, all the evidence against you is being presented, alleged, whether it's true or not, whether it's personal or not, but there are a multitude of screen caps that seem to prove what you were doing, what your modus operandi was. So I said, take that. Tapos kung nagkakamali ka, reflect on it, you pray, and then if you want to salvage your career, I think you should come out with a statement apologizing in all humility to everyone. Is he doing that? I don't know. Will he do that? I have no idea. You ask your other friends, they say, he's not going to change. Just as it, Spanks. You may have wasted your time, but you tried. Okay? And whether or not he continues, whether or not he makes amends, whether or not he decides to continue, but everyone, be warned. There are so many people who have all of these methods by which they get free food. Basically, it's getting free food. Diba?
And nakala ko nga, hindi na mangyari yan during this quarantine, COVID times, diba? And
kaya masama yung loob natin di ba? Alam mo tayo, we've been here for a decade and a half. We've tried to clean this up. Pati yung Tupperware blogger naman, sila ba nag-expose yan? Di ba? Sila Geman, yung yumao natin kaibigan si Eric, si Biahilo. They were the ones, Eric, the late Eric. he was one of the ones who was very adamant. And why? The whole purpose of Gemma and Eric was to clean up, right? Because it exposes a really bad side, shows a bad side, and people have a tendency to believe the bad things, right? Hindi kabilat ganyan. Mas maraming mababait, mas maraming decente who really want to help. And the hashtag right now nga, among a lot of the bloggers, the writers, the TikTokers is hashtag save small business or support small business, right? So, especially now, but unfortunately, Anton, may mga ganyan talaga. So, kung yung mga kayo bago, guys, don't go into this food media, blogging, vlogging, TikTok just to get your freaking free samples. Work for it. Get a real job. Diba? Ano yung, Anton, ano yung favorite word nila? Collab.
Bad word na yan sa industry eh.
Oh, parang collab na means shit, you know? I mean, the minute I get a message or a friend of mine who has a food business gets a message with collab tayo, right? I said, delete it, block the person. Unang-una, wrong grammar pa yung sinasabi. Pangalawa din, I'll collab, can you send, parang walang ang kakapal na mukha talaga. Send me samples. Okay, I'll take photos of them. I'll post them on my Instagram account, which is like 150 followers, and then I'll post them on YouTube. They make a really stupid video. Alam mo, mas nakakasama pa yun sa produkto eh. And then, walang ano eh. And here's what as a food writer, as a Kapampangan, as a Filipino, as a foodie, and this is what gets my goat. Wala silang sasabihin about the food. They will just take pictures and they'll just say, "Oh, it's yummy." Right? It tastes
Oo.
good. Look, if you really want to convince people, if you really want to be an influencer or be a person of influence, gosh, it takes years. You build your reputation, right? Kaya
Yes.
tayo tumaba, Anton eh. Di ba? Kasi lahat
Tsaka
kailangan
pumeta.
natin kainin.
Oo
Pati
nga.
pumayat ka na. You've lost a lot of weight, you right?
Yes.
Ako, I've lost 10 pounds in this quarantine, and hopefully we continue with our healthy healthy lifestyles after the
Okay.
ECQ.
Yes.
Right. So that's where we are. So we just wanted to clarify that among all the listeners there. So we have a message to the restaurants and all to all the food entrepreneurs right now. We are here to support all of you. And let me just talk about something. No? Yung restaurants, medyo ano kami, yung, kasi one foot of mine is in the restaurants, one foot of mine is friends with the food entrepreneurs. The restaurants are being threatened right now
Oh,
by
ano
the
bang
food
latest
entrepreneurs.
discussion? Oh, what's the latest discussion?
Well, yun, let me just complete that thought. Yung restaurants, kasi karamihan sa atin yan. And if you look at your Facebook now, the food entrepreneurs, the home base are very aggressive. Boosted posts. They are now advertising on Facebook. And parang magaganda yung produkto that you don't see anywhere else. And since they don't have
Yes.
any franchise fees, any overhead costs, their costs, their products are very much cheaper. So they're a threat, right? So the other
Yes.
night, last night, we were talking with the restaurant group naman. We said, do we have what's our statement regarding, what's our stand with entrepreneurs? And sabi naman namin lahat, alam mo, lahat tayo may kaibigan na gumagawa ng lumpia sa bahay, na gumagawa ng cookies. We have no stand. No stand is a good stand because we're all here to help each other survive. Right?
Amen.
It's a very
Yes.
critical stage. And to answer your question, so yeah, so let's support everyone, yung kapitbahay nyo, yung nagbebenta ng sashimi sa farmers kasi lahat mahirap ngayon eh. Right? I think it's day 69 or day 70 of us essentially nakakalabosa tayo lahat. So let's all help everyone. We'll get our liberty in 1 week and maybe things will change. And you're asking about the update, okay? And there are two schools of thought about restaurants reopening, right? But the malls have reopened. It's been 1 week. It's been 1 week
Oo nga.
since the malls
Oo.
reopened, right? And anong nakita natin last Sunday? Di ba puro fake news? So They were getting
Kwento mo nga.
fucking social media, man. Let's use it more responsibly because people were just kung ano na nasagap nila sa Facebook, sa Viber, they will without being judicious or validating it or being critical thinkers, they just pass it out, 'di ba? So naglalabas sila ng mga picture na ganito raw sa SM, ganito raw sa Robinsons. Then we've been monitoring the foot traffic in the malls kasi nandun yung mga restaurants eh. They're opening now for takeout and for delivery.
Yes. Oh.
Parang yung foot traffic at any given time is maybe like what 15% of the capacity.
Ouch.
Oh, 15-20% of the mall at any given time during the ECQ. So don't insult the Filipinos. Hindi naman tayo ganun katanga. I think our sense of self-preservation is still very, very high. We wouldn't have survived almost 400 years of Spanish rule, 50 of American, 5 of Japanese, and martial law. If we didn't have a strong sense of self-preservation, we are going to live. We are going to persevere. But we're not stupid. We're not going to the mall just to have ourselves cool down. Diba? Unang-una yung mga mall ngayon, Anton, walang wifi. Diba? Hindi ka walang wifi, zero. The malls are at the 20s, yeah, medyo malamig, is 26 degrees. Pero no one really wants to go because only a few shops are open, right? And they're for essentials. Diba? So, wag kayong maniniwala, wag kayong magkakalat ng fake news about that because we're all in this together. And whatever panic, whatever fake news or lies you spread on Facebook, only generates anxiety and stress. Nakakatulong ba kayo? Hindi. Di ba? Dapat nakikita mo sa Facebook para nung Mother's Day 2 weeks ago, lahat masasaya, kasama natin yung mga nanay natin, we're so happy. But now it's so very negative, right? But let's try to spread positivity. Let's try to be more optimistic. And that's because it's how we will move on. Anton,
Yeah. Oh.
The thinking kasi among the restaurants.
Ano bang inisip nila? When they open dine-in or not?
Yeah.
Ano ba?
Provided that the Department of Trade and Industry will allow us, the IATF will allow us, we will, but gradually, slowly, and not now. Not now, because we have to take a look at the numbers. We have to take a look at the cases. We have to take a look at the infections and whatever wave ng DOH yung nasabi, first wave, second wave, third wave, new wave, old wave, whatever it is. But we're looking at that. I mean, that goes hand in hand. But we are preparing. The restaurant industry is preparing all possible safety protocols to make sure that when we are allowed to open up, we are going to be ready to give you the safest possible environment to enjoy a meal. So lahat yung nakikita natin, yung mga acetate, yung mga dividers, all of these things, UV, COVID testing for all the employees and chefs even before they're allowed to work. Before you enter the restaurant, you'll be, of course, given your pistol, the temperature pistol, then they'll make you sign a document stating, no, I don't have COVID. This my hair. Why would they make a sign a document? Because it's going to be used for contact tracing if ever. So lahat yan gagawin.
Oo nga eh.
That is
And mukha ngang nakikita nga ng mga preparation na restaurant, mukha ngang with all the preparation, it will be one of the safest place to go, no? Rather than, let's say, supermarket or other places, di ba?
Ako, mas praning pa ako sa supermarket, pare. Even pumunta ako sa butika, mas praning pa ako. Kasi sa butika, sino kasabay may sakit, di ba? Kaya nga nasa butika eh. Di ba, supermarket, sobrang daming tao. And you're just touching the same things. That's what happens in supermarkets. You're just touching everything, right? It's a very tactile environment. And kami ni Chef Ed Bugia, pinag-usapan, and we agree on this. And this has always been the hallmark of the F&B industry. Second only to healthcare and to the medical profession. Sino bang pinaka nag-iingat sa surroundings, sa pagkain? It's the food industry. It's the restaurant industry. We've always had the safeguards. We've always had the protocols, right? Obviously, the reason for being of restaurants is to feed you, to nourish you. And what is nourishment? Nourishment's there to make you healthy. So we're not. So sobrang ingat ng restaurants. Di ba? What can kill a restaurant, Anton, before COVID? What can kill a restaurant is may nalason, may nakitang ipis, But
Yes.
that's what kills the restaurant. So
Yeah.
the most stringent hygiene safety has always been the restaurants. Now we're moving this 100%, 200%, even more. Why? Because when we are allowed to, we want you to go back, and we want you to have a safe experience na wala kayong kaduda-duda na I can eat here and be safe. Of course, there will be a segment of the market na ayaw talaga lumabas. We respect that. We know that, right? There will be people who will not go out until a vaccine is there. But we can't sit there. Alam mo ba ng World War I, Anton? Did you ever read about World War I?
Hindi. Ano nangyari?
World War I was 5 years. Basically 1914 to 1919. 5 years. And for 90% of those 5 years, you know where the French were, you know where the British were, you know where the Germans were, you know where they're in foxholes. Yung movie last year, yung nominated for Best Picture, 1917. So for five
Hmm.
years, Anton, imagine, nasa foxhole ka lang, you're not advancing, you're not retreating, you're just there, you're
Oo.
just static.
Nandun ka lang. Oo.
And around 20 million people died in World War I, right? Because no one could move forward, no one could move backward, and they were just static. But we can't be static anymore.
Mm-mm.
We have to move forward because we have to jumpstart the economy. We have to move forward because if we don't, in any way, manner, or form, whether takeout, delivery, or dine in, or whatever, or frozen goods, we have to. Otherwise, everything would hemorrhage and the whole industry would die. We will not allow that to happen. And we are asking for your support. So kung hindi kayo lalabas, mag-order kayo ng takeout. Total, di naman kayo nagbabayad ng gas na. Hindi kayo lalabas. Tipid din kayo. Di ba?
Yes.
So,
Oo.
but support the restaurant industry, support all the entrepreneurs, support small businesses. That's where we are. That's the whole point. But don't support them by asking for free food. That's not how the way to do it.
Oo, amen. Amen. Kaya nga, I
Right?
think ang daming reaction talaga dun sa post nila Rowena, di ba? Sino ba una
Mm.
nag-post nito? Si
See, there are two ladies, two very tough ladies. That's Rowena, Wendy Limley. You can find their posts are public, and Marge Sia, Marj Sia. If you want them
oh,
the whole story, all the crazy details, they're in their posts, they're in public. Because and Marge are adamant about this. They're committed to they're protecting two things. They're protecting first and foremost the restaurant, the F&B, the small businesses. That's the whole thing. It's not personal, right? They're
yes.
offended because this influencer seems to be taking advantage of all of these people. And second, they are taking care of the reputations in general of all of us who write about food, who support the industry, right? Who conduct activities for the popularity and public relations for our friends.
Mhm.
Like I said, it's symbiotic. So they're doing the vanguards right now are Ro and March. And they're very tough. I mean,
Oo.
mabait tayo compared to them, but these two ladies are very tough. They're not mincing words, right? But I'm glad that they're there because they are actually fighting for us, right? And as they should. And
Yeah.
tayo, if we are not to, and we should do our part. And what's our part? We are or not. Like I said, I don't want this to be personal, but if you know you are in error, if you know that you did something wrong, what's the best thing to do? You make amends, you apologize, you be humble, right?
Oo.
Don't let your ego get in the way because we all know what happened.
Yeah.
That's it.
Pero siguro rin, Spanks, maybe coming out of this quarantine, no, we might need to do some education campaigns as well. Let's say for the
We should.
PR or,
Mm,
di ba? Actually, napag-usapan na rin natin to before. But
mm,
I think it's very important how we can support properly, you know, uh, and what they're saying a better normal, no, for all the industry, parang coming out of this quarantine and this crisis in the restaurant industry.
It is a crisis. It is a crisis. It's like we were basically gobsmacked. Parang tayong all of a sudden there were like it became this cancer that hit us. We were all, we were at the golden age, right? This really was the gold. We still are in it. Ako, I just want to think of it like press pause. Nag-pause muna tayo dito. But we are. And how many restaurants, Anton, do you think there are in Metro Manila? Ano to, conservative estimate. How many?
Ilan ba yan? 60?
Conservatively, no, 20,000 restaurants. Metro Manila.
Ah, Met
Small, big, around 60% of these 20,000 conservative would be the chain restaurants. And I'm not just talking about the big multinational food chains or the Jollibees, but you also have those with like 4 branches, 5 branches. So
okay.
ang name of the game is recall, but that gives you 40%, right? That are mom and pops, startups, one branch restaurants, and they're all feeding the bitch. And this we said this for those of you who didn't hear this last Friday. How many employees does a restaurant have on the average? Sabi mo na 10 people, 10 individuals, 10 families. So you multiply 20,000 restaurants with the average, conservative average of 10 people. That's 20,000 people, right? No, that's 200,000 people.
Wow.
200,000 people. And there's just not one person. That's 200,000 families that are dependent on the restaurant industry. Kaya sa tama yung sinabi mo, di ba? We're 50% of SMEs. That's exactly the number. 200,000 families. Families are not people. Hindi pa
Grabe.
natin binibilang, Anton, yung mga peripheral, yung mga suppliers, yung mga delivery ng Grab, Lala Move, who rely on the restaurants for business, right? All the ingredient suppliers, lahat, Linis, everything, all of these people. So it's such a big contributor to our economy, right? And that's why we are here to make sure, and if you're listening, support nyo talaga sila, kailangan talaga na sila. Not just because we like good food. Of course we love good food. But we are here to support them because we're talking about the livelihoods of 200,000 people and their families that are dependent on the restaurant business. And that's why we're here. That's why we are so committed and passionate about them. And that's why we are so angry and disappointed in the people who would take advantage of them, especially this time. So if you're thinking of doing an influencer shit project, collab, shut up muna. Or call me, usap muna tayo. Diba? Then I'll tell you what to do and what not to do. Right? Because that's where we are now. Wag muna kayong mang abuso ng tao. Ganun lang kasimple yan. Right? That's where we are.
And tsaka magbago na sila, di ba?
Bago na kayo. Upaka kayo ni Marge, yung pakay kayo ni Ro, tsaka upaka kayo ni Anton.
And siguro rin, we'll include them in our prayers kasi, di ba, araw-araw ka na nagdadasal. Let's include them. Maybe naapektuhan rin yung the influencer industry in all of these things. So, but there are better ways to do it instead of taking advantage of other industry naman.
We'll do that because right after, when things settle down, we're entering the GCQ by June 1. Anton and I are committed to give a webinar, whatever you want to call it, for anyone who wants to work with us for the betterment and the promotions of the F&B restaurant industry, the small entrepreneurs, the small business. We're going to do it. And we're going to tell you exactly how to do it, why you should do it, and what are the best practices. Because we've been doing it for 15 years. Right? So, sana makatulong kayo, hindi kayo makasagabal. Yun ang sinasabi namin sa inyo.
Okay. Yes. Tama.
Yeah.
And maybe let's have a discussion with sila March then one time.
Yeah, for sure. We will, I think all the more that we should join hands, link hands together, and do it for the betterment of the industry. So, yung tayo sa KTG, di ba? Yung mga tito-tito na vloggers, ang hashtag na namin, Restback. RESBACK, Restback. And that basically means, alam mo yung ibig sa restback sa Pilipinas, di ba? Pag may upakan, sinong second mo, pag naupakan ka na, may restback ka. So, tayo ngayon, sa media, tayo ang restback ng restaurant industry. So we have that hashtag. So what's Restback stand for? Restaurants Bounce Back. And it sounds really good. And we're fully supporting all the efforts of the nascent organization called Resto PH. which is literally all the restaurants in Metro Manila and in all the Philippines working together to make sure that we promote best practices to all help each other with their suppliers. Basically, just to make to continue the survival and prosper to make them all prosper. So nandun tayo ngayon. So Resto PH, Rest Back, we're all working together and we are very sure that if we do the right thing and you are with us, then we'll survive. And hopefully, Anton, by Christmas, we get back to normal.
Yeah, sana.
Di ba?
Para
Oo,
masaya
hopefully
ang
naman.
Pasko ng lahat ng tao.
Basta ingat lang palagi tayo lahat. Don't think just because June 1 the virus will magically disappear. No. You can go out starting June 1 but all the more still be safe. Practice all the protocols, all the disciplines have been used to for the past 70 days. Anton, Taiwan, Sydney, Japan, Tokyo, right? Seoul have really opened up. So you cannot say na hopeless eh. Hindi ba? Kasi kung ano magagawa nila, and I just have to say, keep on using Vietnam and Taiwan as examples. They are our closest neighbors. They're very much like us, right? They're not ultra rich countries, but they have the discipline. And if you look at the lowest transmissions, the lowest number of cases of COVID in the region, it's Taiwan and Vietnam. If they can do it, why can't we do it? Right? It's all discipline. And
Yes,
if we're disciplined, then all the more we can get back to our daily lives sooner rather than later. That's it.
later.
Yeah.
Yes. Ako
Para I missed
naniniwala
you. So,
ko
para baka uwi ka na dito sa Manila. Probinsyano ka na.
Oo, pero nasa Laguna nga kami ngayon, eh, pero mahirap pa rin, eh. Biruin mo, for the 2 months na tayo, 'di ba? Walang COVID sa area namin ngayon pa lang. So,
Yeah. Ano naman yan,
ano
I would I wouldn't call it, but I wouldn't call it a super spreader event. Sometimes there's three people,
pa
you know.
isa-isa, dalawa, yeah.
Oh, isa-isa lang yan eh. Hindi naman siya. But some people would say like kanina may si si si, si paring Raymond Magdaluyo. Nag,
Oo.
may pinasa siya. There's this professor from AIM. Parang napaka the professor from AIM was saying something like the gist was expect the worst, right? But be ready. Be optimistic. But he was saying that, he said, don't believe the optimists, the pessimists will be the ones to win. Parang he was it's very annoying for me because ako sobra akong optimistic, sobra akong positive thinker. Tapos yung huling sentence sa post ng AIM professor, our end is near.
Talaga, talaga. Baka naglolo ko lang yan.
No, that's how he talks. I think he's trying to use fear. He's weaponizing fear to make people behave. But I don't really believe that because if it gets spread on Viber without context and people don't really read naman, we know that. They'll just read the first sentence and the last sentence and say, oh my God, what the hell is happening? But for everyone watching and for everyone who will listen to this in podcast form or whatever, please spread positivity and optimism. Not misplaced optimism, realistic optimism rather than fear and rumors that are not in any way connected to reality. Right? Because as we always say, Anton, we protect our mental health also. We should.
Oo. Meron ngang
Di ba?
webinar ng isang Friday. Dami talagang umaattend ng mental health this days kasi nga it really affects you. It's not just all this negativity and whatever
Oo.
positivity we can help. Pero realistic rin naman yung positivity na we're sharing to a lot of people. Hindi naman siya out of nothing, di ba?
Yeah, you can. There's something called toxic positivity also. Parang wala ka na sa reality. We're not like that. We're just
Hindi
saying that we should be positive because I truly believe that you are all right up here. You'll be all right all over. You know? Scientists are fond of saying that they just understand 10% of how the brain works. And I'm pretty sure that 90% there, somewhere in the 90% that the scientists don't understand is what makes us healthy, which causes miracles to happen. Diba? So, be
Oh,
optimistic. Diba? Ano bang magagawa kung puro negative ka? Diba? Who does it help? I don't know how it helps.
oo. Tsaka May friend nga ako, si Joji, nakwento ko na to sa'yo, nagka-COVID
Yeah,
siya.
right, 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 right.
Nag-survive siya dahil sa mind niya, alam niyang babalik siya sa bahay. Babalik siya sa bahay. Ang tindi nung tinamaan siya. Pero alam niya babalik siya sa bahay. So, nakabalik talaga siya sa bahay. So, very important, I think, is the mental health.
Hmm. Oh,
So,
you just think it just
wait,
disappeared.
wala ako.
Wala, I hear you, but wala yung mukha mo. I see a green X there. Para kang X-Men.
Okay. So,
all right. So I think we can end now. We've said our
let's end it.
piece.
Yes.
And yeah, maybe you can invite them to listen to our old episodes, which are still what we call season 1 kasi was like the ECQ season, di ba?
Oo.
So itong bonus episode natin. And when we return in 2 weeks, we're going to be in the GCQ season of the Manila podcast. And we hope you'll continue listening. And if you have not listened to it first, Anton and I will probably start doing it this way now. We have a live interaction first before we. Am I still here? We'll have a live interaction first before we tape, because some people just like watching. I guess.
Oo, yes.
Diba? Hindi alam naman natin. Hindi pa sanay yung mga tao talaga mag-podcast eh. Pero ito lang tip ko siya. Gusto nyo makinig ng podcast, yan ang pinakamagandang pakinggan bago kayo matulog.
Oo.
Diba? Pagod na yung mata nyo sa Netflix. Diba? Hindi na kayo makabasa ng libro. Just put on your phones and plug it in to your phone and just listen to the Manila Pod. And let us our soothing words help you drift off to sleep. Ako, that's how we listen to podcast. Diba? Gusto ko yun.
Yes.
Bago matulog. Diba? Kaya maganda rin, positive papakin yung podcast. Kasi makikinig kayo sa true crime podcast sa puro patayan. Masama yung panaginip niyo. Kung makinig kayo sa amin ito, at least good vibes.
All right.
So,
sige.
I just see your very old picture.
Hindi pa ako nagpapapicture eh. So,
I know. Picture ka na ng pogi. Parang payat-payat mo na. You've lost a lot. So I'm really happy for you and Rach. And sige, sundan niyo pa yung anak niyo. 4 pa lang.
Yeah.
Ano, yung 1 week pa kayo nasa bahay. Gawin niyo na yung baby girl.
Oh. Ay, nako.
Alright.
Ayaw ni Rich na ganyan. Bye.
Let's talk again in 2 weeks for episode 1 of season 2 of the Manila podcast. So, for everyone, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. It's been a pleasure. And if you have any more questions, just PM Anton at our Awesome Planet and just find me anywhere. I'll be happy to answer your questions.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. And bye, everyone. See you soon. Take care.